Hello again, welcome back. A lovely breezy afternoon. But what we're going to do today is just have a wee look at the dashboard removal. Hopefully give you a little bit of guidance on that, a couple of tips, and I sincerely hope you find it helpful. Let's get a look at how we got the dashboard out. Okay, so we're at our 1988 Talbot Express, 2 litre petrol, and dashboard removal. Now we're actually going to start underneath the bonnet. There are four fixings that come through the top of the bulkhead into the engine compartment that you have to get off in order to remove the dashboard. They are not the easiest things in the world to access, and the first one actually I'm probably not going to be able to show you completely with the camera, but up and behind the wiper motor housing, on-bolt the earths at the bottom, which also form the fixings for the bracket on the window wiper motor, and you will then pull that forward slightly to give you a little bit more access up in here. And the first fixing, as I say, you're probably not going to be able to see it, but it's up there in that cavity. The second one is again coming along the bulkhead. There you'll see the hole going through the bulkhead, and the way to get to that one is you need to drop off the wiper motor worm from the passenger side wiper blade. Just let that drop down a little bit, and that will give you access to both the number 2 fixing point and the one that actually is part of that wiper attachment. And then the fourth one across here again, it's fairly simple to get at, fairly open access. And what you're dealing with is very simply, in each instance, you have a plastic washer with a little 10mm nut sitting on the back of it. So those 4 have to come off first of all, and in many respects that's probably the hardest thing to do on Talbot. Okay, so here we go. The dashboard is removed. Now you'll note in this instance that the steering wheel has remained in place. You can take the steering wheel off, but with a little bit of manipulation of the right hand side of the dashboard and the lower portion of it, you can bring it across the back of the steering column and remove the dashboard out the passenger door. Now the practicalities first, and then the wiring. Okay, now in no particular order, you do have to pop out the air vents at either side, and they simply pop forward out of the dashboard, and they're held on to the ducting from the heater just by way of those little lugs. So again, they prise out fairly carefully and very gently, and then coming along the inside of the dashboard, you've got to undo the fuse board and also drop out the big relay here, so you actually take that apart into 2 pieces and then reassemble it for safekeeping once you have the fuse box out. Radio housing, just I've left the bracket in place, but pop out your radio. The panel for your heater controls like so, and now very, very gently, of course, because you are dealing with old plastic and that can be rigid and can break very, very easily. It pops off, and then once you have that off, of course take the slider knobs off first, then you have the 4 bolts come through from the heater control panel on the actual heater, and then the control panel drops in through the back. Vents, again, just pop them out gently, and switches, same principle, they will pop out. And the one thing to be careful about in the back of those is to make sure that the terminals all remain in place and just go slowly, go easy. It can be tight and you don't want to be damaging the switches themselves. Same principle the whole way along, and you'll note there that I have actually left the choke in place. No point in taking that off. Disconnect it from the housing, from the carburetor, pass it through the bulkhead, and let the cable remain in place. And on the back, these are the 4 studs that go through the bulkhead onto which the 10mm nuts and washers go, actually securing the the dashboard in place. And at the lower end, you'll find, and I'll show you these on the bulkhead itself here, you'll find there's a number of little fixings on the bottom which just screw out. So just a little comment or two on the instrument panel removal. From the front, 2 screws, undo them, the instrument panel will fall forward out of the dashboard, but it won't come very far. The biggest restriction is the speedometer connection, and that's something you just need to be careful about when you're taking it off. There is a no-ring, or there's a ring clip on this, which you just pull back off the attachment, and then the cable itself will just drop away gently. Again, be careful, treat with care. When you have this off, it's actually only connected with 2 of these connectors when it's in place, but when it's off, it's a good time then to unbulb, check the illumination, and you'll replace whatever necessary. But in itself, a fairly simple removal process. Okay, so the lower physical attachments for the dashboard, you'll see 4 of these fixings. 1, 2, 3, 1 there just beside the steering column, and then the 4th one, the equivalent of this, just over at the driver's side door. So dashboard out, and one little tip that I always find useful whenever I'm actually disconnecting cabling on dashboards, just take a moment to label them. It makes it simple to put things back in. So going from left to right, you've got the glove box illumination, the flasher unit, you've got the fuse board, which is say you just undo those and drop them through the dashboard. The switch for the glove box, you'll note that the heater matrix is out of this vehicle, which is why the dashboard had to come out to start with. The heater motor was sounding as if it was going to take off on its own. And then the various switches for controls and lights right across to the connections for the back of the instrument panel. And then the speedometer cable, again just in a wee bit more detail. You've got a snap connector in that, so when it's in place, the ring is forward, and just simply pull that back, and then very gently remove from the back of the speedometer connector, and that's it. Just keep secure, keep it safe until ready to go back in. But that's it. Removing a dashboard is always a bit of a challenge, I suppose, but on the Talbot Express, fairly straightforward. Bit of patience, bit of time, bit of tape and a marker, and a couple of screwdrivers, and away you go. So again, I hope that has in some way been useful or of interest, and just as always, subscribe, like and share. So thank you, and we'll speak to you again.